Carolina. Ms. Foxx, Representative Foxx, you're now recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and thanks to our witnesses for being here. Dr. Wubbenhorst, thank you for your service to our nation as a practicing OBGYN and working with USAID during the Trump administration. It's always great to have fellow North Carolinians here. Democrats have the distinction of holding the truly extreme position on abortion today. Twice during the 117th Congress, nearly every single Democrat voted in favor of the so-called Women's Health Protection Act, which should be called the Abortion on Demand Until Birth Act. This bill reveals their agenda for the United States: abortion on demand until birth in every state. Dr. Wubbenhorst, in your understanding, would this bill even abolish laws that prevent aborting a baby just because of a Down syndrome diagnosis or because of the sex of the baby?
Yes, thank you, Congresswoman Dr. Foxx. Yes, I believe that this bill would go very far towards abolishing any protective laws for disabled fetuses.
But it would be protecting those babies that have Down syndrome or because of their sex, correct?
The law would be?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this extreme bill, the extreme bill that Women's Health Protection Act would in fact place the United States back in the company of countries such as China and North Korea.
That's correct.
Right, and again, the Women's Health Act would not protect babies from being aborted because of their sex.
Yes, and I think that that's an important point. If we look at the coercive abortion practices in many countries, in particular China, and I would also add to that countries in sub-Saharan Africa, where foreign aid has been tied to abortion or to our promotion of abortion, I think that that's an important consideration, yes.
Thank you for giving an example of other countries and what company that puts us in. A Harvard University poll from June 2022 showed that 90% of Americans believe that there should be some legal limits on abortion. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is it also correct that this poll showed that a majority of Democrats in this poll supported protections for the unborn after 15 weeks?
Yes.
I believe this constitutes a majority of all Americans. It seems to me that it is the Democrats who hold the extreme positions on abortion, and they hold the views contrary to the will of most Americans. And I find it really interesting that there are people who say this is an act of self-determination. It is one thing to be determining what happens in your own body. It's another thing to be determining the life of an unborn child that you are carrying. And I'm often reminded of The Merchant of Venice, where in The Merchant of Venice, there was a deal made that if a man could not pay his debt, he would give a pound of his flesh. And in court, the defense lawyer said, "You may have your pound of flesh, but you may not take a drop of blood." And it seems to me that elective abortion should be compared to that, because you may be self-determining for your body, but what are you doing to the body, to the child in your own body? Dr. Wubbenhorst, is there anything you've heard today you'd like to respond to or correct for the record?
Well, I do think, as I said earlier, that abortion is not health care. It's also very important to point out that there are no data to support the assertion that increasing rates of abortion, or in fact that abortion at all, has any effect on maternal mortality. Again, you would have to reconcile the fact that African American women have the highest rates of maternal mortality and the highest rates of abortion, and both of those cannot be true if it's the case that abortion has an effect on maternal mortality. I would also like to add that the questions regarding miscarriage and care and ectopic pregnancy care have been frequently misrepresented in the media, and it's important to set the record straight. Miscarriage, treatment of a miscarriage is not an abortion. Treatment of an ectopic pregnancy is not an abortion.
Thank you very much. I yield back.